videos. How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a sweet ass week. Today what I want to do is go through a little bit of a glossary, some keywords, some key lingo that distillers and home distillers use. And the reason I want to do that is because as a new distiller, God, hell, I know it was so freaking confusing. It's still confusing for me. So that's what I want to do today. Alright team, so I am Jesse, this is Still It, this is the channel all about chasing the craft of home distillation and making it a legitimate hobby. So if that's what you're into, guys, have a look around the channel, see if it's a good fit for you. If it is, hit the subscribe button down below, it'll be sweet to have you on board. Today I am shooting live, so no editing. If I screw up, it's in here, and it is gonna be what it is. But let's get stuck in, eh? And we've got 26 people hanging out with me right now. I'm thinking there's probably a few more coming still. Unfortunately, if you're watching on YouTube, you're not going to be able to see the comments that are ticking by right now. I will do what I can to call them out as I can. But these guys are going to help me out with some keywords too that maybe they found hard while they were learning. Maybe that they still don't quite know what's going on. But I do have a list over here to get started. So, let's have a look, eh? Oh, right. Actually, I think the first word should come from the live crew. So shout one out, guys, and I'm going to bank up a couple to get started on. No? Nothing? You're too slow, guys. All right, I'm going for a super obvious one because I'm kind of... Oh, no, we do have one. Connor, liquor. Hillbilly for booze. I'm so going to get murdered for that. Oh, no, I am. I'm going to get murdered. Oh dear, let's do a real one. That is a real one though, like people do legitimately use that as basically liquor, spelled L-I-K-K-E-R, instead of liqueur, or yeah, it just basically means the stuff that you're distilling. ABV, guys, it's really funny how many people get confused with this one, or how often it just seems to go over people's head. If you haven't been in this world before, I don't blame you at all, but basically is alcohol by volume, and it is displayed in a percentage. So anytime you see a beer bottle, pretty much anything outside of America which displays it in proof, it's going to be ABV by percent. So if it's 40%, it's about 80 proof, and that's 40% alcohol by volume. The next one that I want to do is tackle the alcometer versus hydrometer debate. So basically, at their essence, they're exactly the same thing. They're an instrument that measures specific gravity in relation to something, generally water, and then the label on it will display, sort of translate that into a reading for you. That's my way of looking at it anyway. So if it's an alcometer and you've got a sticker on it, it's going to give you a proof or a percentage that the alcohol is. And if it is a hydrometer, it's generally going to be giving it to you in specific gravity in relation to, or like a decimal to water. So if it's 1.1, it means that it's 1.1 times as dense as water. If it's 0.9, it's 0.9 times as dense as water. Really quickly, the reason you want to use those is the hydrometer, or a brewer's hydrometer that's in bricks or in specific gravity, that is used before distilling. And essentially what we're using it for is to figure out how much sugar is in solution in the wash. We can use that to figure out how much sugar is in solution at the end of fermentation and decide how much sugar has been converted to alcohol, and then by that decide what the ABV of the wash is. An alcometer, on the other hand, is used after distilling, and that is to decide what ABV you've got. Two things to note here, team. A hydrometer will only measure pretty much the density of the liquid you have, so you pretty much want it to be just sugar in there. And the same with the alcometer. If you take like a 40% vodka and put sugar into it, and you put your alcometer back in, it might read only 20%. So just keep that in mind, guys. All right, I'm just going to go back through the... Oh, dog, what's up, man? I just see you turn up. That's cool to see you. That's cool. All right, guys, what's next? Attenuation, this one comes up a whole lot. So attenuation links directly to the fermentation we were talking about before, which is the reason why I wanted to put it here. And essentially what that is talking about is how much of the sugar in your wash has fermented out. How much of the sugar has been turned into alcohol. So 100% attenuation would mean that every little bit of sugar you have has been converted. The yeast have metabolized it and eaten it all up. Probably do metabolized as well, right? So metabolized is basically, or metabolizing is the ability of the yeast to take something, put it through a metabolic pathway and spit something else at the end. So in our situation, we're talking about sugar in and carbon dioxide and alcohol out the other end. All right, guys, and seeing as we've just been doing UJSSM on the channel, we're going to talk backset as well. So backset is essentially what is left in your still after distilling something, except you do not want to use what's left in your still if you've already done a stripping run. Okay, so it's you put wash directly from your fermenter into the still and you run your still in any way you want to run it, and what comes out of the still at the end is backset, and that can be used for sour mashes like the UJSSM. Bye-bye. Another one that's been coming up a little bit lately in people asking me how to set up all grain stuff is, it's an acronym, so BIAB, and it stands for brew in a bag. So essentially, brew in a bag is a way to do a all grain mash kind of beer style. It's from the homebrew world and it originated in Australia. But basically it means that you don't need a 3-vessel system to make an all grain brew. Like I said, originally for beer, but distillers can use it as well. It's basically just literally a big old kettle with a big nylon bag that you'd put into the kettle, and that holds the grains so you can pull the grains out at the end. If you want to look into that more, guys, it is a really, really cheap way to get into all grain mashing, especially if you're wanting to do beer as well. And the best place to find information for that is on home brewing, as in beer brewing forums. It's all over the place. Do a Google search and you can't miss it, I promise you. Alright guys, feel free to give me some more hints and tips on what you want me to go through, or if you've got definitions that you want me to read out, go for it. Alright, a Boca still. A Boca still. I want to go through some of the stills now. Randall says he uses brew in a bag as well, and he thinks it's great. Oh, Chris, okay, stripping run. I said stripping run and I didn't explain what it was. Good point, my bro. A stripping run is when you take wash from your fermenter, so it's freshly fermented, or it hasn't done you haven't done anything to it after it's fermented. You put it into the still and generally run it through a pot still or a still in pot mode, and we'll go through that in a second as well. Remind me, guys. And the idea is that you want to run it hard and fast, and you are not trying to get a finished product. You are simply trying to basically cut the volume down so you can do a spirit run later on. So a stripping run is a down and dirty quick run. You know you're not going to get a finished product, but you're making it easier to do a spirit run later on. A spirit run, on the other hand, is when you are running the still with the intention of having a product ready for blending come out of the still at the other end. So that leads into the pot still. A pot still is kind of the super traditional type of still, and people do get confused with the shape of the still, but at the end of the day, basically what it's doing, basically what you're doing at that point is not using active reflux. So there will be some sort of reflux happening just because things are cooling down, and that's sometimes where you get the alembic shaped heads and stuff like that, but you're not using any active reflux, and you don't have any packing in a pot still. A reflux still, on the other hand, works by creating reflux at the top of the still, sending vapor back down the column as liquid, and the liquid and the vapor interact. The liquid strips the impurities out of the vapor strips the purities, I don't hate using those words, but you know what I mean, out of the liquid, and essentially it gives you a higher ABV over a shorter runtime with less number of distillations. Cool? Alright, let me check these real quick because I know it's What's up, Lindsay? Good to see you, man. Okay, so malted grains. We want to talk about malted grains as well. So a malted grain is basically, let's talk barley. Let's put it into barley terms. Not that it should really matter, but basically you take barley, you let it start to grow, you halt that process by essentially kind of drying it out and semi-cooking it. And the reason you want to do that is you want to activate the enzymes that are in the seed, and those enzymes are what are going to turn the starch in that seed into sugar for you later on. So essentially what it does is it creates a barley that has the ability to convert itself from starch to sugar. And when a malted barley or any other malted product has a high diastatic power, which is essentially the measure of how much enzymes are in a seed, or how much more starch it can convert than its own starch, you can use that to mash something else. So for example, you can take corn that isn't malted, throw that in, and by itself that will not convert to sugar anytime soon, but then you take malted barley and put it in and it will convert both. So that's a malted grain. And as someone measured as well, I'm getting a group chant of rye, rye, rye going on right now. I'll make a rye guy. Those guys, don't worry, it'll be a little while. Anyway, so if you don't want to use a malted grain, what you can use is bottled enzymes. And essentially that means that you can use non-malted products or products that don't have a super high diastatic power, and create a mash bill and then just put synthetic enzymes in on top. The good point is with those is that they've got a wider denature zone as well, so that's or a wider active temperature. All right, guys, I feel like I'm getting a little off topic here, but that's cool. So a Boca still is basically or a slant plate still is one of the pretty popular novice reflux heads, I guess, and basically it works by sending the reflux down into a double slant plate with a valve off the side. So you're using this valve on the side to determine how much of the reflux is taken off and condensed into your jars and how much of it is sent back down the column for that reflux process. What I have is a CCVM still. Points for anyone that can tell me what CCVM is. And that's the still over here. And basically that works by moving the coil up and down to sort of adjust how much of the reflux can get up, how much of the vapor can get up in here as well. And that is a vapor management still. All right, guys, let's do a couple of the real popular ones, and then I think we're just going to have to do this over a few periods because there is a lot of things. Lindsay, my man, coil-controlled vapor management. You're the man, bro. I knew someone would get it. I was stalling. I was hoping I didn't have to say it myself. Chris is saying that I shouldn't be passing off my work to you guys. Yeah, I got to get some perks for having you guys around, right? Yeah, condenser coil. Yeah, fair play, lead guitar man. All right, guys, let's pick a couple more, and then I want to get onto some other stuff as well. Oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? All right, DME, I see this one pop up a bit as well. This is more from the homebrew world once again. So DME is dried malt extract. So it's basically a powder. Someone's done a mash, and generally, as I understand it, it's dried by spray drying. So they spray it into a column and it dries as it falls. But essentially, it's just malt. So it's a dried mash, and you can get this either hopped or unhopped. So you throw it in water, you mix it up, and you've got your wash ready to go, basically. It is kind of expensive, but it is really nice to have on hand to just throw into something if you screw up. When I did my bastard whiskey wash, I messed up with the volume of water I had. My starting gravity was way too low. I didn't have enough sugar, so I did have a couple of kilos of DME. That might have been LME, which is liquid malt extract actually. I can't remember what it was right now. But you can throw some of that in, and essentially it's still, you know, an all grain brew that you were doing. So that is pretty cool. All right, let's do ethanol and methanol really quickly, and then we're going to check out of this stuff and do a couple of other things. So essentially, ethanol, good stuff; methanol, bad stuff. Ethanol's the alcohol you want to drink. Methanol you do not want to drink. Methanol also is the one that has a pretty bad rap, and is blamed for a lot of things that it does deserve to be blamed for, but people potentially assume that it got there in ways that it didn't get there. Let's leave it at that for now, because I think we need to do a really good video on this sometimes, just tackling the stuff that people assume about methanol. Yeah, I think I'm preaching to the choir with all you guys. Yeah, yeah, based on lies, lead guitar man says. Yeah, dude. Agreed. So I think we're going to tackle that in another video. But essentially, I will just say right now that is... yeah, Chris just said, ethanol gets you blind drunk, methanol just gets you blind. Or dead. Yeah, that too. Yeah. And Jonathan saying, where's that car radiator condenser of mine? Which is funny, dude. Yeah. So basically, guys, home distilling really is a really safe thing to do if you're watching this for the first time. Kudos for you for sticking around so long on a live video like this. But basically, it really is quite safe, and a lot of people say that you're going to go blind or die from drinking the methanol from distilling your own stuff. At the end of the day, distilling itself cannot create methanol. It just can't. Like, that's not how it works. What it does is take certain things that are in the mash or the wash already and separate them out from other things. So basically, if there's methanol in the wash already, you're going to have some methanol in the finished product as well. The thing it won't do is create it if it's not there. So basically, if you drank 5 standard drinks of the wash, and you drank 5 standard drinks of the distilled product without doing any cuts, just everything that was in there, you would be drinking exactly the same or very similar amount of methanol in each. The difference is that with distilling, we can choose which cuts we take, and we can be selective about things, and that potentially can lower that percentage of methanol as well. Anyway, guys, so I want to check out on that one now. We're going to have to do some more of these, I think, because this was fun. I don't know about you guys, but it was cool. We'll see if the YouTube video helps people out as well. But a quick mention, I did just literally on the way home today get these shirts turn up. So I've got some like this, and I don't know if you can see that, but it says, don't just make it, chase the craft. And I've also got some with the logo. I've got a couple of other people that I've sent these out to just to give me feedback on them and see whether or not they like them or not. Unfortunately, the printing is a little bit fuzzy, but it's kind of cool at the same time. I haven't decided how I feel about that. But if you guys really want to grab one, there will be links to the merch shop at Threadless down below, and there have been links in the last few videos as well. I just didn't want to mention them until I've seen them and know that they're half decent. Alright guys, so thanks for watching the video, team. If you've been hanging out and watching this on YouTube, I appreciate it. I know these live videos are a little bit disjointed and kind of rambly compared to my other stuff, so I appreciate you hanging around, guys. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you really like the video, have a think about subscribing for me, and I'll catch you at the end of this week when you're going to see, let me show you, the blending video, and this is the... Ooh, where are we? This is the results of the video that's going to be coming up on Friday. So this is the stuff I'm keeping from the UJSSM blend. Anyway, guys, I'll see you later. Have an awesome one, and I'll catch you at the end of the week. Oh!